This is the story of Oli Iovino, five-star quarterback from Garfield, New Jersey. Why am I referring to myself in the third person, you might ask? Well, I'm not. I am not Oli Iovino. Actually, right here, that's me. I'm Vinny Fallaci. I am the best friend of Oli Iovino. Have been since I was 5 years old. Grew up on the same street. Went to school together from preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school. And I write for the school paper. My dream, become a journalist. Oli's dream, be a professional athlete. Oli excels in 3 different sports. Quarterback, where he's a 5-star recruit and looking to push the envelope this season in high school ball in New Jersey. One of the more underrated pools of talent in the country. Players like Jabril Peppers, Quentin Nelson, Rashawn Gary, and others coming from this state, just to name a few. And these are the types of guys that Oli has been carving up for years. He also plays on the basketball team, where he isn't as fluid or as natural, but his just overall athletic ability combined with competitiveness, combined with just love for all that is sports, excels him in that too. Also plays for the baseball team, which might some say is his best sport, even though I know his heart lies with football. Oli's not a tremendous athlete. He doesn't run a 4.4. He doesn't bench press 500 plus pounds, but he has a decent arm. He's a competitor. He's a fighter. He's a leader. And that's what separates Oli, and this is what has gotten him to 5-star status. He's a physical, great instinctual player in all 3 sports, like I mentioned, especially in basketball, just due to it being his least talented sport. He has to work harder. But this is about football. We are following the senior season of Iovino, someone that I've known forever, someone that I've now just started covering, and he's been awesome. He told me one time, Vinny, I'm the man with no fear. He doesn't fear anything. He is going to throw that ball as hard as he can. He believes he can make every throw, and that is great. He can give him the ridiculous numbers he puts up this season and seasons prior, but also gets him in trouble. He is one of those guys who does get picked off a decent amount. And even though I'm talking with my teammates here, offensively, they aren't the most talented guys. This is a defensive team mixed in with a really, really, really good quarterback. And the quarterback is kind of masking some of the deficiencies on our offense, both on the line, in the receiving core, in the running game, things like that. I feel like if you look at his stats, you'll see a guy who puts up ridiculous numbers but turns the ball over too much. He's too reckless with the ball. A guy who maybe isn't as good as his numbers suggest due to those mistakes. But I'll tell you a different story. He's a guy who just wants to win, man. He truly does. I know it sounds cliche. This is a quarterback who, despite all the accolades, all he really cares about is winning. But that's what it is. Whether it's on the football field, basketball court, baseball field, in the box, behind center, checkers, playing cards with the fellas on the weekends like we like to do, get together and do that. He isn't a guy that comes from a tragic or noteworthy place. He's a guy that grew up here in Garfield, New Jersey. Both parents in the home, still has a good relationship with his grandparents, and never really did struggle. However, teammates that did, he never made them feel alienated. He never made them feel uncomfortable. Never picked on anybody because of what they had or didn't have. He's a guy that cares. A guy that truly 52 other guys in that locker room look to him. He's not the captain because he's the quarterback. He's the captain because he's earned it. Iovino told me before the season he's kind of filtered his top schools down to 3. Rutgers, which has given him a scholarship since his sophomore year. He would be local, stay home, the birthplace of college football. What better storybook kind of thing can we write here other than staying home, going to Rutgers? Notre Dame. He's a man of faith, and he really does enjoy his relationship with God and his relationship in his religion. So let's go to Notre Dame, right? That's where every kid growing up, when they first start learning, watching, listening about college football, they learn how important Notre Dame is to a lot of people in this country off that alone. And why not play for one of the premier football programs and, follow your faith in one of the better Catholic schools in all the nation? Also, Texas is on the list. Just the Longhorns, that burnt orange, something about it, that just breeds excellence, that breeds that you're supposed to be here. And Oli's always believed he's supposed to be here. Never cocky, but always confident. And I think there's a distinction there that needs to be made, and I feel like he makes it, he definitely toes that line, what I'm trying to get at. A guy that, to me, a kid who loved sports, never was as great as he was, never made me feel different or outcast or alienated. I don't play. I'm on the team. Some people say it's because of Oli, and it maybe is. He sticked up for me a couple of times when Coach was thinking about cutting me for maybe someone more deserving. I'm not going to sit here and say that I didn't have that privilege. But definitely a guy that will go to bat for his brothers. Against Cherry Hill in week 1, he was fantastic. A 28-10 win, put up 24 for 31 passing, 3 touchdowns, a couple interceptions, like I mentioned. A guy that can get carried away throwing the ball around. 326 yards, however, and that's going to be one of the more modest yardage putouts of the season for him. He's a guy that's going to sling the rock. He's going to be aggressive. Again, that fine line between cocky and confident. And on the football team, he plays it very, very well. And again, he's going to try to force it. He's a gunslinger in most senses of the words. Maybe that arm isn't as strong as traditional gunslingers, guys like Mahomes, guys like Favre. So those guys got intercepted their fair share. Just looking at a guy that maybe doesn't have that cannon arm like those two have, it's going to get him in trouble even more. Here against Morristown, he settled in. This is probably looked at as one of his, if not his best games, just mostly because he did have that one turnover, that fumble, but spoiler, he doesn't throw an interception the rest of the game. He was truly letting his receivers carry him in this one, or I don't want to say that. I loved the guys, the Win and Ostrander and all those guys, but he was just letting things develop. He didn't think that he needed to push the envelope as much. He let the guys get open, trusted his offensive line, who put up a very good showing this week. And just slung that thing, man. He really did. And this is one of his best games, especially if you are concerned about the turnovers. 4 touchdowns in this one, 400 yards in this one, absolutely insane. And multiple times this season, we see it here. Changes the play, gets a better play on the field, even though it would have sacrificed his own stats. A couple times this year, you get down to the goal line, get to that 1-yard line, and there's a pass called. He checks it down to a run just to get the score, and that's just the kind of guy Oli is. Any college coaches watching, any college coaches listening, reading things I put out about Oli, it's not coming from a guy who, Jess is his best friend. As a journalist, an aspiring journalist, I have to keep things in an objective eye. And he's a kid that I truly do believe this about. Not because he's a good friend of mine, not because he's deserved it, because he's earned it, because that's who he is. And that's all that matters in journalism. Iovino, also a guy, again, would give you his shirt off of his back. There was a time in 4th grade where we went to a local nature park, reserve, things like that, tripped in a pond. And guess who's the one who walked back to the bus shirtless? It was Oli, because I was wearing his shirt. because my shirt was soaked and my pants were soaked. He wouldn't give me his pants. I think he drew a line somewhere. But truly, just the kind of guy that he is. Just a bang-up gent, as they say across the pond, and a guy that cerebrally is advanced. He knows coverages. He's a guy that is still learning how to, not still learning the coverages, but really how to make them burn, how to burn them down. Like, he knows cover 3, cover 2, cloud cover 6, and kind of what concepts. And this is an 18-year-old kid. You're not that you're not supposed to, the talent that he has, but something that you learn in the next levels. And he's already dipping his toe into that bank of information, knowing which routes work best. And he thrives on timing routes, out routes, curls, hitches, things like that. That's really his bread and butter. And learning when defensive backs try to bait him and when he can actually go out there and dice him up. And I think that's the one thing you look at most of his interceptions this year. It comes on things like that, a crosser or a out route, that timing route where you have a guy in coverage that's backing up and sitting on that route, and just knowing the cues on what makes a cornerback, a defensive back, a linebacker, what have you, defender, do those things. He's already starting to implement that, and it was a little frustrating for him at times because I think he's at the height of his powers right now. Obviously, he's going to get better, but he's never been as good as right now, and that's going to be the case for the next 10-plus years. So when you're still trying to figure out how good you are, you push the envelope a little too much, and he did run into trouble there. Again, a great win against Morristown to advance here in the season. Now let's kind of get down to this game. Let's look at this game against Point Pleasant. This is one of the more interesting games from Oli this year. Waits there patiently, lets that receiver break out, hits him in the back of the end zone. Here, first down, or not first down, real long way to go. Lets that Texas route develop, hits Howell right in the hands, trusts his running back, who running backs aren't the best pass catchers by nature, but trusting his receiver to pick up a bunch of that yard. Not trying to go for the home run just yet, but doing it. Gio Soria, one of his favorite targets as well, letting that route develop again. Trusting his receivers, letting his line do what he needs to do, get guys open for him. Able to lead him and let him go to work. There's a big play by Ostrander. I think he tried to get some more loft in that ball, hit it more towards the sideline, left a little short, which let that defensive back get right back into the play. But here's another example. Letting your guy go get it, get you points. He cares about wins and care about his stats easily. Coach let him go get his stats, and he knew that they were going to win this conference. They were trying to make Oli look as good as possible by proxy, make everybody else look as good as possible. But Oli is interested in winning. Hits Ostrander there for a first down, big first down here with pressure all up in his face. Able to hit the guy in stride. A couple of hospital balls he's been throwing this year. Again, I think just learning that. Trying to perfect that timing, which he's so good at. And right there, just got baited, had the route he wanted, just kind of got a little too tunnel visioned, but wasn't able to zip it past anybody, and there's an interception. But here, that route right there, that out route, right as he's getting hit, let it develop as much as it possibly can, hit him right out of his break, keeps it in stride, keeps him in bounds as well. Little out route with everything over the middle covered. Just go get your yards. Get another day to live. Move those chains. Keep things moving solidly. Here's an interesting route concept. It kind of breaks everything down. He waits. Maybe had Saria breaking towards the middle of the field. Decided to go early. He felt the pressure. Did have two guys right in his kitchen. He's also fantastic at these last-minute drives. We had multiple, actually both games that we saw previous, at last-second touchdown heading into halftime. Can he do it again here? 45 seconds, has the route he wants, tosses it, and just can't quite keep him in bounds. I think the pressure affected the throw a little bit. Able to get it there with enough zip, but wasn't able to push it towards the goal line. And we're going to give it to Howell. He is going to have a big lane into the end zone. It's already 28-7 here at half. So another 2-minute drive for Oli and company. Ostrander threw that man down. Able to zip it forward. Gets up 52 yards on that one using his receivers, letting them make a play for him. Already up to 271 yards here. We just crossed halftime. So a guy that led the state in passing yards this year. We'll have a total of all of his stats towards the end of this little mini series that I'm doing here, just highlighting Oli and what he's done, and getting some interviews from guys on the team, getting interviews from Oli himself, and really pulling together a journalistic portfolio, if you will. So if you're excited about that, make sure to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel where these things are going out. I'm very excited to be putting them out. It's a lot of effort, a lot of hard work. So if you're as excited of following this journey as I am, I don't know what the next steps will hold, but it is going to be very interesting. Like that pass, super interesting by Oli. Just kind of had to make a decision, everything. Didn't want to take the sack, trying too much, but with the game so out of reach, throws another touchdown. Unfortunately, not the good kind. 35-14 here, third quarter. $1:10 on the clock, and textbook to Ostrander on the outside. Loves those out routes. They are his favorite. Getting Ostrander worked. But 52 yards, takes up a big chunk of it. 10 receptions, 180 yards. Flip it over to Wilson, who able to push himself forward for the first down. And we're in danger of not seeing Oli the rest of the game. And we call all the way down to the fourth quarter. Passing pattern set up off the play action. Frees the defense just enough. Zips in there. Weisbecker toe taps. Again, if you're excited, let me know. I'm excited to share this story for my senior project here. And Oli Iovino in the Point Pleasant game. 32 for 41 passing, 393 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. We'll see you next time here with the story of Oli Iovino.